Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Liana. I'm a first year veterinary student at UPM, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my vet interview. So, a few disclaimers before we start. I'd like to say that number one, my interview was last year, obviously. So it was during COVID and I had an online interview. Now, from what I understand, I'm assuming that it's not that different compared to physical interviews, mainly because both interviews are individually assessed. Number two, I'm only sharing what I know. There's a lot of things in this world that I don't know, but feel free to comment down below and I'll try to get the answers for you. And number three, this video by all means isn't like a 100% guarantee that you'll ace your exam, interview, but it's more like a heads up to what you'll be facing. Okay, I've also divided this video into three parts. The first part would be about the requirements, the quota, and the documents that you need to prepare. Second part would be about my interview, the process of it, and the questions that were asked, and a few tips here and there. And the third part would be about what happens if you don't get in, like what can you do. So let's jump into the video. Okay, so the first part, what do you need to get called for the interview? Before I talk about what you need, I just want to give you guys, like a smack of reality on the competition that you're going to be facing. So, when I was in as a student, right, during orientation, we were asked, like, who here wants to be a vet student, right? And I'm not even kidding you, like 1/3 of the students in there raised their hands. And at that time, we had around 800 students. So a lot of people already want to go into vet, right? And that's just as per students. You also have veterinary diploma students, and then you have STPM students, matriculation students, international students, and A-level students. There's so many people that want and apply for the vet interview. And out of the many hundreds of applicants, only 200 get called for the interview, and out of those, only 100 plus actually get in. Like my batch is only 120 initially, but now it's 116 because some people dropped out. So the competition is high. Like if you're watching this video, you better be prepared. Okay. So regarding to the requirements, I'd say that obviously they look at your CGPA. Make sure it's 3.75 and above. Now for ASPER students and UPM diploma students, you are given a leeway of like 3.5 point is enough, but you are also competing with other ASPER students that get 4 flat, 3.9, 3.8. So honestly, 3.5, nah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Okay, make sure whatever background you come from, make sure that you get 3.75 and above. Secondly, about the co-curriculum, it's important, but in my opinion, I'd say that pre-co-curriculum maybe not so important. Now the reason I'm saying that is because back when I was in ASPER, I joined a lot of programs, but I didn't get like not even a single certificate. I was supposed to. One case, like the person somehow lost my certificate and then they didn't print another one. So I had no proof to show that like what I was involved in during ASPER. And when I was emailing the faculty for the interview, I only included my school co-curriculum certificates, and it was enough for me to be called in. So, oh, and another thing is make sure that vet is your first option, because the moment you put it as your second option, they reject you automatically. Okay, so and it's important because my friend also applied for vet, but she put it on her second option, and unfortunately she didn't get the first option that she chose. So she reapplied for vet, but then when she emailed them, they told her that since it was her second option, they're not really gonna cater to her. So even if you reapply, it might be a problem. I don't know if it was just for my friend. I'm not like a faculty person, so I don't know. But yeah, nevertheless, make sure that it's your first option if you really want it done. Okay, and then in regards to documents that you need before the interview, I'll be honest with you, I don't really remember because this is like last year. But the 4 main ones that I do remember were SPM, WENT, your pre-U CGPA result thingy, and the last one was your co-curriculum certificates. that's about it. I don't really remember giving like, I don't remember giving a, what do you call those? E. So for the quota of vet students, out of 100 plus students, there's around 50 ASPO students. Okay, and then from diploma, I asked my friend who came from diploma, and she said there's only around 60 students, and out of those 60, usually 15 out of 60 actually get into vet degree, and then the rest is matriculation students, STPM students, A-level students, and international students, etc. So if you are someone that just graduated from SPM, haven't taken any PU yet, I would suggest and I would recommend you to join ASPO. I will be making a video about it, you know, because it's really fun and it's actually a waste if you don't join it. For me, lah. So never mind, that's another video. So the second part, the interview. Okay, let's settle about the process first. So number one, it's in English. Number two, it's 30 minutes long. Number three, there are two panels or two lecturers that are interviewing you, and you are alone, which is actually good because it's not pressurizing you. Like you're only with the lecturers, so it's kind of chill, right? And yeah, I think that's about it. Generally, I would say that the questions are hard, especially if you're someone that doesn't have any background knowledge on vet. Like when I was an ASPO student, I only wanted to be a vet, but I didn't really know like factual knowledge about it. I just wanted it. So if you're someone like me, then these questions are a bit tough, but it's not impossible. And yeah, you should always do your research before the interview, right? Okay, so for the first 15 minutes of the interview, usually like they know that you're nervous, right? So they want to calm you down, right? So it's more to personal questions. Like I was asked, if you hear my chicken, then I'm sorry. If I was asked about, basic questions like tell me about yourself, where usually you would include your previous pre-U education, and then just talk about yourself, right? And then other questions were like, what inspired you to be a vet? Why do you want to be a vet? Okay, so for this question, it's best that your answer is unique. Like, don't answer like, I love animals, that's why I want to be a vet. Like, you can love animals but not be a vet, It's too cliche. Just be genuine lah. Why do you really want to be a vet? Like, what triggered you to suddenly want to be a vet? If you don't know, just practice the interview. Practice these questions. Talk to yourself a lot, and then somehow, some way, the answer will come. Okay? Yeah. So other questions were like, 10 years down the road, how would you picture yourself? Like, what major do you want to be in? So for vets, you have a lot of majors and a lot of job scopes. It doesn't have to be like just pets, like small animals. There's also wildlife, obviously. And then you could also go into other industries like pharmaceutical or whatnot. Like, the job scopes for vet is very, very, very wide, which is why it's also a good option. Okay. And then another question that was asked was, as far as I remember, like what animals do I like and why? And then what animals do I hate and why? And then, in my self introduction, I also mentioned that I came from like a religious school. So the lecturers did ask me like, are you okay with like touching dogs and pigs? So for questions like this, just be like a yes man. And if you don't know, for vets in vet degree, you don't learn about the specific scope that you want. So if you want to be like a vet for small animals, it doesn't necessarily mean that you only learn about small animals. It's not like that. You learn about everything, all of them, reptiles, mammals, obviously. That you learn everything. I was also asked the question like, are you a leader or are you a follower? This is more to like, they want to know you lah. And then, yeah, I don't remember any other questions. But yeah, first 15 minutes, it was chill, questions like that. Okay, so the other 15 minutes, that was when it got kind of tough because the other interviewer started to like ask me factual questions. So I was also asked about what do you think about animal welfare? What do you know about animal welfare? So explain whatever you know lah. And then I was also asked about SPCA, which is an animal shelter in Malaysia. It's the official animal shelter. And basically the questions went on about stray animals. How do you avoid overpopulation of stray animals? And honestly, like I kind of had like a debate, quote unquote, with the lecturer because I feel like I answered a very cliche answer, which was to neuter the stray animals. Because obviously that is one of the ways to avoid overpopulation, but they're already doing it and it's not really giving that much of an effort. Like it's still an issue, right? So I feel like the lecturer kind of wanted me like another answer from me. So he kept on like asking me back, and then like whatever answers I gave, he kind of rebutted it, and it went on for like 6 rounds. It was like back and forth, right? And I remember it ending with like him correcting me about something, but I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what he said because I was already like panicking. I was just like there, like smiling and just like nodding my head, but in reality, in my mind, I was like, oh my god, I messed up. Like I felt like I messed up, right? So this is actually quite common. Like even if I ask my other friends from vet, most of them had a situation where they were kind of like going back and forth between the interviewer and you, which is fine. It's fine. And then like my 30 minutes ended, so that was basically it. So I did find a blog that helped me when I was interviewing, like before my interview, which I will link down below in the description. But yeah, obviously, like when you look at the questions, when I looked at the questions first, I was like, what type of questions are these? Like they're literally asking as if we're already a student, you know? So you can practice. You can practice with the questions that were given to me, but I can't assure you that you would get the same answers. Questions, sorry. Because the interview is like answer based. So it's different. It's different, right? It's different for everybody. But yeah, as long as you're prepared, inshallah will lead you. And I'll be honest with you, like just a little secret. I prepared like literally a week before my interview. Okay. What else? Okay, so for a few tips that I want to share with you is number one, have passion. Well, if you really wanted to be a vet, then obviously you would have passion naturally. Okay, because you know in interviews you try to display like the best image of yourselves, but there are other things that just give it away, like your body language. So if you really wanted it, if you really have passion in it, it kind of shows, right? So make sure that you really, really, really want vet, right? And the fact that you're called for the interview shows that you know you're on the right path. So be confident, and you deserve it. Like you've been called for the interview, you deserve it. Okay. Another tip would be smile. I know it's cliche, but it does help you de-stress. Like it helps you calm down. I know how nervous it would get. Like you know, because degree is a big thing. Your courses of degree is really big, right? So make sure you calm down as much as you can, because you know when you're nervous, sometimes you end up saying stuff that doesn't really make sense or isn't really portraying you, and it could give off the wrong idea. So if like before the interview, make sure you drink water, you know, just calm yourself down. And the more nervous you get, the bigger your smile should be, okay? Try to be as calm as possible. I'm getting nervous, oh my god. Okay. Other than that, wear proper attire. Well, honestly, like compared to my other friends, sometimes some of the interviews that like were from nurse interviews, my friends from nurse interviews, they literally had to stand up and like turn around and show what they were wearing for the interview, because everyone was doing it online, right? And they wanted to make sure that you were wearing formal. For vet, we didn't have that. Like honestly, the lecturers are very, very chill. But nevertheless, just wear whatever is presentable for you lah. It makes you in the mood to be excited for the interview. And don't wear something too distracting. Like kalau lah baju kau bercorak, janganlah tudung pun bercorak. Like you want the focus to be on your answers and yourself, not what you look like. Okay. Okay, and then the third tip I would give is talk as much as possible. You only have 30 minutes, but honestly, they feel so long. They feel so long. Okay, so to avoid getting a lot of questions, right? Give the most lengthiest answer you humanly can. That is relevant to answer the question, right? And if it gets too long, obviously they would cut you off, lah. But you don't have to worry about it. They're there to listen. Okay. And then another one is like based on the questions, you might feel a bit pressured because some of them are very unfamiliar, right? And not all of these factual questions will be asked to you. You might not even get them, right? But it's better to be prepared. So if there is a question that you don't know the answer to, just say you don't know. Okay, just be honest about it. They'll explain to you what the question is. They rephrase it for you. Like when I was asked about SPCA, I did do my research about it, but I forgot like what it stands for. So when he asked me like, do you know SPCA, I was just like, no. And then he was like, oh, it's an animal shelter. And then I was just like, yo, I read about this. Like I know what it is. Okay, so like vet. As far as I'm in the first year, I believe that my lecturers are very supportive of if the concept that you state that you don't know when you don't know. Because when you're a vet, you have to make huge decisions. And if you're trying to like bluff your way out, sometimes it could end up becoming very messy. Even like as you're practicing, even in exams, you can't just oral exams out. Okay, you might not understand what I'm saying, and I think I'm going too far-fetched. That'll be in another video if you want. Okay, this is a tip that I would recommend, which is if you could ever have any experiences about anything about vet lab related to vet, whether it's volunteering at a vet clinic or volunteering at Zunigaru or I don't know, anything related to vet, do so. Okay? It's not only is it good for like your resume and stuff like that, but it's such a different experience, So when I was in Asper in the mid-sem break, I actually went to volunteer at a vet clinic in my area for only 2 weeks, but it changed my perspective so much, and it really does help. So if you have any experience about that, talk about it in the interview. Unfortunately for me, like my lecturers didn't ask me anything about it, so any other answers that were related to my experience about it, I just like I just brought back the topic of like me working or me volunteering at the vet clinic, just to prove that I made efforts. Okay, so yeah. And another thing is like sometimes you would think that vets have a very nice job, you're working with animals and stuff like that, but in reality working 10 hours a day, 6 days per week might not be that dreamy lah. It kinda macam hancukan the like yeah. And last but not least, my tip would be have hope. Okay, so back to what I said earlier when I was kind of like debating with the lecturer. After that, I really had no confidence. Like the first 15 minutes, I was superbly confident because it's personal questions, obviously you know about yourself, right? And then the last 15 minutes, it was just such a blur because I didn't practice any of those questions, not all of them. Like I felt that I didn't do a good job answering them, and long story short, I thought I didn't get it, but I did. Okay, so I just want to say that if there's room for hope, don't give up on yourself. Okay, things like this aren't something that you fully are in control of, right? And if there's no room for hope, maybe you're in the wrong room. Okay, maybe there is something out there that's way better for you. Okay, because being a vet doesn't necessarily mean that you want it, but it's also about being capable to be a vet. Okay, so for the final part, what happens if you don't get in, or what if you're not even called for the interview? Okay, before I start anything, I just want to say that again, interviews aren't things that are fully in your control. So please don't blame yourself. Okay, it's really not entirely your fault. Okay, you feel free to evaluate yourself. Maybe you did something wrong. Maybe during ASPO or during PU, you didn't study as hard as you were supposed to. Maybe you weren't giving like full commitment. Maybe, but don't forget that the lectures are also involved. The interviews are also involved. Sorry, and then things can happen on the day of your interview that are way out of your control, right? So there are many factors why one could fail, and it's not entirely because of them. Okay. So, what are the pathways, or what are the ways to get in? For UPM students, what I mean by that is diploma students that continue degree in UPM, or ASPA students that continue degree in UPM. You are given the choice to change your course in the second year, not second semester. Okay, so you could always apply for it, but make sure your CGPA for the first year okay lah, and make sure it's high lah. But for students that are from a different university, say that you're in a different university and you want to change to UPM, I'm sorry, I don't know the process of that, but you can always go to the official website of the sorry, you can always go to the official veterinary faculty whatever website. There's contact numbers in there, and there's also emails. You could always ask them like, what's the process of changing university? Is it even possible, or what other ways? Okay, I'm sorry I can't answer that because I really don't know, right? And on another note, if you want to be working with animals, if you don't have a diploma in veterinary medicine, it's okay. You can still apply, because I know someone who had absolutely no background of vet but still got in, and she's now working as a vet assistant. So vet assistants, they can't do surgeries, but they do more of like the husbandry work of the clinic, like taking care of the animals, holding them when the vet is trying to do something, and yeah. Okay, so there are many ways. There are plenty ways for you to be a vet. It doesn't have to be UPMG. UMK gonna do, and even private university gonna do. But I don't know about the price lah. Obviously, my hand again. Okay, but yeah, if God closes the door for you, He'll open another one. So don't. So like I said, if there's room for hope, don't give up. Okay. So yeah, that's about it for this video. Like if it was informational for you. Subscribe if you want. I do have a lot of content planned, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know when I can post them. I really don't know. Like now it's getting really busy, but the next video would most probably be about Asper, and I also have a video about how my first year went. I haven't finished it yet, but then I'll be the phone. So like I can share about that. So if you want, subscribe, like the video, comment down any questions that you have. Again, I'm really sorry that I uploaded this video really late. Thank you for watching.